the hallway that you walk down to get to your own personal residence or to your offices?
Yep, this takes us to home.
Takes you to home.
That's
okay.
right.
So this is the central corridor to
Yep.
home.
Yep.
And
This is also the place where the grandchildren do cartwheels up and down the hall. It's my office at the end, and then they say, "Come on, Grandpa Book, you can do that too."
and have you ever done a cartwheel?
I have
down this
tried, and
hall?
I
No,
didn't
don't
continue
prompt
because
them, don't prompt them.
because I'm afraid I'll tear a hamstring.
I think I'd be
This is
scared
our
of the same
circus
thing.
array. Yeah.
Have you ever done cartwheels down this hall?
No, but I have done cartwheels.
Good answer. This is an important door in the residence, isn't it? This one here. It's
That's
by
Lady Louise.
This is Louise, who was the daughter of Queen Victoria, of course, painted that door and other things when she was here.
Do you sometimes stop as you're walking down the hall and think, you know, the people that have walked down the corridor, the hand that painted that wall, the history behind all of it.
It's very much there, very real. And right next door is a young picture of Queen Elizabeth. And just down the hall, we have a photograph of Queen Elizabeth here at a square dance. I think before she became
Upstairs.
queen. Upstairs
really?
it is.
In the Queen's room.
Wonderful to see her square dancing here in Canada.
Wow, is that wonderful? Now, what are these stairs? Do these lead to your private
Yes,
residence?
you can get up this way, or you can get up in the stairs just down the hallways.
Right.
But this is where Princess Kate and Prince William would come down every morning, and we would greet them and ask them if they avez-vous bien dormi?
Avez-vous
That's
bien
right,
dormi?
and they would
It's
say,
right up here is what we call the Queen's Quarters,
Yes.
just above us. So this would be the stairway that she and other guests of state would use when they come down.
Can they come down at will, or
Sure.
is it you
No
have to come down
protocol.
and meet at 8:10 in the morning?
just absolutely as natural as can be.
Right. But I assume you don't wander around in your bathrobes here.
No, but the story is that Adrian and John did, and they did the gardening in their kimonos.
Did they really?
And that's what we see.
Wonderful.
Yes, so they had things to tell
Garden's
us.
right up there.
Oh yes, we have to show you the door. We
Okay.
take the dog out.
All right.
Where
This
it
is
goes.
the skunk door.
Yes, and this
This
is
is the front door.
my little office there that I just made. But this is where we go out, and so if we have visitors, they can all go out here, and everybody knows how to unlock this door, and you'll see
Big
out
door.
there. Well, you'll see all the sleighs for the kids.
Oh yes, I did.
right, exactly. So you
Look at
can
that.
get a sense.
So the famous
Right.
skunk story, I had the dog
Right here.
here, the skunk was there, and the dog took off, and that was the end of it.
Okay, and this is a story you've never lived down.
There we are.
That's right.
There we are. I still
And-
smell that skunk.
I bet you do in
Further
your
down,
nightmares.
we have the play area, but all these gardens
For the kids, the play area
yes,
for the kids.
yes.
Okay.
But all these gardens, they tell the history. They really tell the history of Rideau Hall, because every governor general or the spouse got involved in, making the gardens or shade gardens. That was John Ralston Saul, or making embankments or whatever they were doing. It's amazing. There's a whole booklet on the history of the gardens, and we might be the first ones to not participate in the garden, but we enjoy it.
This is a wonderful sustainable development, ecological exhibition. Every tree I think that can be grown in this area is grown. Heads of state plant trees here. We have a wonderful herb garden. We have a greenhouse. And we actually did tapping of the maple trees until the ice storm of 15 years or so ago.
Right.
So
Tell us
some
about the
of us-
environmental initiatives,
Well,
geothermal and stuff.
One of the things is we draw all the water from the gardens from the river, and we have a geothermal installation going in now. So we're trying to take an old set of buildings, heritage buildings, and rejig them and rejig the grounds so that they're environmentally very exciting.
I think
Green-
that's
green in the
very
Rideau Hall.
and you know
Like
what? That's
something.
very Canadian.
Very much
Yes.
so.
Yeah,
And very
Canadian.
timely.
So your office is just off of this area as well, and then you have a great view of the gardens.
I do. What's nice is that it's a genuinely
Your husband's
nice,
locking the door, by the way.
Yeah.
He's taking care of
Closing.
closing and locking the door.
genuinely nice, workable, cozy.
It's a beautiful
People
office.
people like to come and have meet in here and so on. You notice my horse.
Explain the flag, Sharon.
Well, the flags, when we started, we sort of stopped, but all the people coming for diplomatic parties or whatever, we had them put their little flag in, and they loved it to identify where they were from. Also, that's fun for the grandkids, and we have the globe there that they can deal with, and I have my little library, which is nice. So this is perfect.
And are these your personal books?
These are my
the
personal
books
books.
that you
Yep.
brought with you.
Yep.
Right.
That's for my writing or whatever I'm doing. This is my library, which is very nice. But isn't this cozy?
And that's the maze, Sharon, the acrylic painting.
I think you know about the happening. I think your mom was here.
Better explain that.
Oh,
Yes. So this is the brain of a schizophrenic, and that's perhaps 1 or 3 prints that they've actually made. And we went to England a month ago during the Olympics, and we saw the actual painting in the Royal Bethlehem Hall.
Acrylic, the
Right.
Ukrainian Canadian artist.
yes.
You can tell about the acrylic, and then
And this was when he was very, very ill, suicidal, in the hospital in London, the Bethel Hospital. And he painted this skull to represent what was going on in his head. And this was part of his recovery. And he was cured, came back to Canada, and was a magnificent painter. And we saw just a few moments ago 6 of his paintings in the foyer, which represent the immigrant coming to Canada and establishing themselves. So this is an early one, and this is quite something. Sharon speaks about the maze. We're both very interested in mental health, and Sharon has put a lot of emphasis into it. We had an evening of focus on mental health with art and mental health with fashion and design, where we actually had a fashion show of dresses designed by people who were suffering from mental illness and expressed their creativity through dresses.
How remarkable.
Yeah, it was.
And those are the kind of initiatives that also help to broaden the reach of Rideau Hall as well, and take away some of the what people may perceive as a very traditional role, and show them that it isn't. It's a transformative.
In a very important challenge to overcome the stigma associated with mental health, that it's a health illness like a physical illness, and when we can overcome that, there's so many opportunities for cure that can raise us out of the state. So we are in a time when intervention can make a real difference in terms of mental health.
we humanize the whole discussion
Yes.
here.
May I ask you about the horse?
Well, I
the
asked
horse?
because, of course, I
you
love horses. Yes, I do indeed. And they put that in for me, so that was just special. So every day I get to look at a horse because
You don't get to ride them.
I don't get out to ride my horses very often, but nevertheless, he was obviously winning an award. Nice little pinto.
Before we came here, we lived in a farm in Waterloo for 12 years, and Sharon managed a stable with 36 horses, two girls.
39 horses. There you go.
And she would say that the 4-legged animals are just superb. The 2-legged animals sometimes present challenges.
Not so much. I bet you would.
But that
especially
didn't
having
apply-
5 daughters.
I say for the microphone, that didn't apply to any of our boarders at that stable.
Perfect.
That was a generic statement.
This painting they just put up, and I love that. So
It's
that's,
wonderful.
It's very nice to be able to get, come
Yeah, it
into
must
your
be
office and see
so remarkable to live in a place where you are surrounded
Right.
daily by these incredible works of
Right.
Canadian art and a reflection of what our country has produced in terms of.
Shows the excellence. We really are so fortunate in how well we contribute on a world scale in terms of art, be it visual art, be it literature, etc. Alice Munro won the Nobel Prize for short stories within this past year. And also a scientific endeavor. We really do punch above our weight. And I think we should be a little more aggressive in presenting that to the world, not hide our light under a bushel.
It's not in our nature, though, is it? We are a little less aggressive by
Correct.
nature.
Correct.
You know, you talked about the Rick Mercer skit where you were worried about a puck hitting Queen Victoria or a crystal vase. When you walk down these halls and when your grandchildren run down the halls, do you worry about
We've tried to
bumping
bulletproof
into
this
things?
hall as best we can. You bet.
And nor
bet
do
you
they.
that.
I mean, nobody's put things away, which is
No.
interesting. And then we come in there when we have our friends and they start playing and the kids dance. This is,
It's such a beautiful room.
yeah.
Yeah.
You want to take a peek in the
Sure.
large dining room?
And it is large.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this could be transformed from formality to kids, and now there's not so many booster seats. They're going up a bit, but
Justin.
and the kids run around. I mean, you could start to worry a little bit about some of the things, but they play tag around.
I would
while the
too,
adults
frankly.
eat.
And this is the state dining room, so these walls have heard many interesting stories.
I bet they've heard interesting stories. And is this the room where the high chairs were?
Yes, and we had 24 at Christmas.
Wonderful.
And we had given all of the staff the 3 days off, which we
Yes.
thought was a very nice thing to do. And then we had no idea how to cope. But the heat went off
Oh, no.
down to 11 degrees. We lit the fires. That set off the fire alarm. Then we had to open the windows because nobody could see. It was a disaster.
Did
We
they
had a
never
wonderful
leave
time.
you alone again?
Well,
Have
no.
they ever agreed?
They're having some thoughts.
It was a 3-room circus.
Yeah. Oh dear. Well, it was something.
That's
It was just super fun. But
How
anyway.
often do you entertain in here?
Probably once every 2 weeks would be there. And we have a small dining room here. And very often for investitures, we don't use this room, it could only seat 36. We use both the ballroom and the tent room.
Yes.
And we can accommodate about 200 for a sit-down dinner.
Okay.
So that more frequently those larger dinners would take place in the outer area rather than here.
How often do you get to have dinner on your own? Just the two of you, just sit down and eat?
Well,
dinner?
at the end of the day, we're exhausted, and we just.
I would say we probably entertain or are involved in evening activities. I think there were 81 last year, in the year where at least I was involved at a dinner here or outside. So what is that? 8 over
Yeah.
365,
That's a lot of
25,
stuff.
34%.
We sit at, when we get up to the country, then that's where we,
Right.
sit down and
Relax.
relax
Yeah.
and have dinner together. So
Yeah.
we'll just show you this because this is what John Rossman's always saying.
Wonderful.
He loves this room, and he
It's a
had us
wonderful
tea and he closed the doors and said, "Don't bother me." But this is very formal. You don't see anything that remotely looks like everybody works here. But a few little changes.
Yes.
And this would be a place that we could actually, take our little laptop, not to make it an office, not at all,
No.
but to have a few magazines or whatever,
Sure.
the newspapers and stuff.
And all of our places work.
In all of
We think
the
so.
Well, you're
Yes.
telling a lie because they didn't work at Christmas, and then you were probably
maybe it
upstairs.
was
to
just
work.
the people who were trying to work them.
Was- that was the sons-in-laws, exactly.
It was their
The
fault.
flu! You have to turn it
That's right.
upside.
This is the one that's the biggest problem. But anyway, this is a cozy little spot,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have to be on the formal part of the tour.
Sure.
So now you're going to, I bet, go to the Buchan room. There you are.
Oh,
You go to the Buchan room. Come on.
Let's go to the Buchan room.
Take him there.
Straight across.
Perfect.
Where he says he
His
sits
favorite
and he
room
really
in the
doesn't,
house.
but he loves it.
Come on. Here we are. Come on in here. So that's John Buchan, Lord Tweedsmuir, from 1935 to 1940. He's carrying a book in his hand. As I mentioned earlier, John Buchan, Lord Tweedsmuir, wrote about 120 books, which is really remarkable, particularly because that was not his full-time job. He was not an author. He was a member of Parliament. He was a lawyer. He ran a publishing house. He was a Minister of Information during World War I, managed to dash off a history of World War I, 46 volumes doing it. And he established the Governor General's Literary Awards, one of the first awards to recognize excellence within Canada. And on these shelves are all of the Governor General award-winning books since, I think, 1936 or 1937. And I'd love just to sit in here for about 2 weeks and try to read every one.
Do you ever go through and pick one out and
Yeah.
take it to read?
Yeah, let's
Oh,
look at-
absolutely.
You do.
Yes.
see if we can.
And there's some
find-
lovely children's stories too, so
Yeah.
you must.
Just looking for Alice Munro, for example. Here's one of Alice Munro's. This is 1986. I think that's the second or third time that she won Governor General Award, The Progress of Love. We were speaking earlier about Lord Byng of Vimy. Vimy was an extraordinarily important battle in Canadian history. The first time that Canadian troops operated as a unit under Canadian command. Byng was the overall commander, and Sir Arthur Currie was the head of the Canadian Corps. And the victory that they won at Vimy was quite extraordinary. Ground that had been fought over incessantly with great losses, and Canadians, through some remarkable ingenuity and leadership and technological advance, won a very important battle.
Yeah. Are they inscribed? Are they?
This one is. Many of them
Not
are.
all of them?
Yeah.
No.
To Madame Vanier, with gratitude and affection, Jeffrey Williams. So that was Madame Vanier. I guess after General Vanier's.
Interesting. What a remarkable place to have.
Oh my!
And
Just
are the
wonderful.
tours allowed to come in?
Yes, they come in here.
They come
yeah.
and look at them too.
Come in here.
Yeah. Sometimes you must be struck by the fact that you're in a position that allows you to really promote the best of Canada.
You bet.
And to
that's-
share these things, absolutely.
It's
Yes.
an important function of the office. We speak about the vision of the Office of Governor General to connect honor and inspire Canadians to reinforce the very best of us. And it has to do with the fundamental values of the country. It's not about politics. It's about those things that have permitted Canadians to make a success of their country. And that, I think, is the continual theme of this office, to reinforce and accentuate those things. For example, 3 or 4 months ago, we started something known as My Giving Moment to encourage all Canadians to think of gifts of time, talent, treasure, rich or poor, old or young, to see what they could do to help the lot of their neighbor and then encourage others to do the same. So our hope is that that would become a natural condition of what it is to be Canadian, that you look after one another.
Do you come in here and get to think those thoughts and plan, or do you?
I should more, but for me, the association with books is
so
very
natural.
important.
You are Grandpa Book, after
I am
all.
Grandpa Book.
Well, we can't. I mean, where we do sit, you can't move because
Right.
when the books fall, they fall. So we don't have to have them. We don't have to read them here. But it's wonderful to have them. They're all, Canadian literature.
Yeah,
It's
It's a
amazing.
wonderful room.
it is beautiful.
And
It's
of
really-
course, books will continue to be part of our lives forever, I suppose, but we're now in a new communication revolution, learning how to use social media and these new tools that permit us to reach every part of the world with information, which we hope can move to knowledge, and a whole new set of tools at our hands.
Was it Gerda that found the missing books? Not all the books were here, and people
Okay.
had taken them.
Yes.
And I think it was Gerda
Interesting.
that literally went and made sure that every single book over that period of time that they were
And
collecting
Adrian
them.
Clarkson, John Ralston Saul finished the job. They got the
Yeah,
last
so
of the...
maybe they were the ones that started
fantastic.
it too. They might have been the ones that started
So
it.
we
But
believe we have every Governor General Literary Award.
What a
Huge.
remarkable collection,
Yeah, it
then.
is, isn't it?
and
Yeah.
everybody has something that they think is important, and there were missing
Yes.
books. So
Yes.
somebody in the office says, you know what, there shouldn't be missing books. We're going to get the missing books.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, that's a good project.
so now
to
we return. If we have a book, we
Good.
return.